Hey, I'm Brian Van.
I'm Max Van.
And today we're going to recap Junior Cup round.
Technically 3.
It's not technically 3, it's actually round 3, Road America. Well. Road America. Total repave, man. What'd you think of that?
It was awesome. But the issue was, it wasn't really an issue. When I went out for FP1, all of my braking markers that I had from the years prior, they weren't there because it was completely different. So all the bumps that I knew on the racetrack,
Gone.
Gone, which is a good thing, also a bad thing. So just kind of had to relearn the surface, I guess.
Relearn the surface. Well, we started off the weekend by getting some sick pictures of this guy and his race bike from our man Brian J. Nelson.
Yeah.
We're going to show some of those in this video right now while we're talking. And then we got on to racing. So in Junior Cup, we only get 4 sets of tires to use, but there's 5 sessions, right? You've got FP1, you've got Q1, Q2, and then we have the 2 races. So we would really love to have 5 complete sets to use. It'd make our lives a little bit easier. We don't. So what he had to do was for FP1 and Q1, he used the same set of tires. Okay.
Start off with FP1. It was good. I was second. Set down a really fast time, kind of right out of the gate. And I pit in early in the session because I was going to use the same tire for qualifying 1. Had good mojo going to qualifying 1 for sure. Went off for qualifying 1 on a junk tire. It was sliding under D-cell. I've never really felt that before until I did that session. And I qualified 3rd.
Let's talk about Q2, buddy.
So I was working with one of my friends that weekend in the practice sessions. His name was Avery Dreyer. On the outlap in Q2, his airbag went off. And I came into the pits with him, not knowing what the issue was. And his airbag went off. So I kind of stormed into the pits. And I kind of looked at my team saying, am I actually in 10th position as it's showing? And they were like, yeah.
Yep.
So I just stormed out of the pits when I should have waited and talked to my dad.
Because I was coming over the wall with a stand to talk to him, to get him to hang out for a second so we could find a group. At Road America, if you're not in the draft,
you're going to have a garbage lap, if we're being
you're going to have,
honest.
yeah, especially in qualifying,
Yeah.
right? He didn't do that, and if I'm being honest,
Yeah, it was my fault.
rode like complete shit in Q2.
I went just as fast.
But everybody else went faster.
I went just as fast as I did in Q1 without a draft, so I was pleased with that. And looking at my trap speeds, I was 9 miles an hour down from the people in front of me, so I will say that's another thing that I was somewhat proud about. I knew that I had the corner speed to be there in the race for sure.
I'm not a towel thrower in her, and of course, that 10th place, look at this. I mean,
You can see that.
10th place grid position.
A second and a half behind.
Second and a half behind. I was a little concerned about it, I'm not going to lie. And I didn't say anything to him because he's like, no, I'm good, don't worry about it. And I'm thinking to myself, bro, you just qualified in 10th. I'm kind of worried about it.
Yeah.
But
It's cool.
you weren't worried about it.
No, I was not worried about it. And I was somewhat worried about it, like, of course, from the years past, I watched all the races leading up to this one, like in between Q2 and race 1. Race 1 came along, got a pretty terrible start. I think I was honestly down to like 11th, and then I knew I had to use my big body and kind of make some passes, and I did. And then I led most of the race in race 1, I'll say that. I had a ton of fun. I think everybody knows, if I qualify in last place, and if I have a couple laps on the track,
Hey,
I will
please hold. Please hold. Okay, we know you're going to be there
I'll
now,
be
but
there
can you
in
do
the
me a
race
favor?
and not qualify in 10th place.
Please.
Yeah.
Let's qualify probably where you belong.
On the front row.
Yeah, probably on the front row. That'd be it would make your life a little bit easier. So
start.
the most exciting races of the weekend, biased of course, but they're Junior Cup. So race 1, I'm watching on the monitors, and you got the draft at the line stuff. What I saw was him finishing in 4th. On the monitors, MotoAmerica had him finishing in 2nd.
Yep.
On the timing, MotoAmerica had him finishing in 3rd. My eyes still told me he finished in 4th, so we're just we're down there at our hot pit, and we're not moving very fast. Our guy Dave goes over to Park From A to greet Max, right? Because we're not on the podium, we're P4. And they tell Dave, you gotta go over to the podium. Then they tell us we gotta go over to the podium. So we meander our way over the podium.
Sure did. And went from there. I was really surprised because I couldn't tell because I'm in a big group of riders and there's 5 of us spread out. Avery ended up drafting all of us to the line. Congratulations to him on the win. But I couldn't tell where I was. I knew I had passed Hayden for sure. I didn't play my drafting right, unfortunately. I knew I probably honestly would have won the race if I would have pulled out to the right instead of the left. I couldn't tell, so I was happy with the podium. And from there, I did my whole podium speech. And then...
Wait, Lexi got to come up. So
my girlfriend, Lexi, so there was no umbrella girl,
the podium.
At the podium. What was up with that? MotoAmerica? No, I'm just kidding. And she was able to hold my umbrella, so that was kind of
pretty cool. So you still got to do that.
Yeah. And then I walked over to the press conference as we have after the race, and I was told that I got 4th. And the rider who finished in 3rd place was given the trophy, had to give him my hat. I just kind of...
Well, and that's the way it should be because he finished in 3rd.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
If that was you, you'd want that too.
Exactly.
Kind of in the presser, the way it was done was kind of not epic, right? And
just how it goes.
Yeah, it's how it goes, and that was a little bit of a bummer. And you said you were a little embarrassed by it, whatever. And
it's all good.
And I'll tell you right now that MotoAmerica made it beyond good. Shows how much they care about the series because. On Sunday, who came over to talk to you about that?
Wayne Rainey. And thank you, Wayne. Thank you.
3-time world champion. I mean, this guy thinks enough of the series and the competitors in the series that if he sees something that he thinks didn't go right, he's not afraid to come over and have a discussion about it. 3-time world champion there in the paddock. That was awesome. It's kind of cool. We got Josh Hayes coaching now, so we get to spend all his time with one of the greatest American road racers ever.
For sure.
All weekend, right? And then we got to cap it off, and Wayne actually came over, and I got to talk to him and Chuck for like 10 or 15 minutes, and, being a fan, right? I mean, been in the industry for a long time. I started this because I love motorcycles, and I love racing.
For sure.
To get to, rub some elbows with dudes like that.
It's cool. It's definitely a cool experience.
Oh, it's amazing.
And then we got to talk about Sunday, too.
Let's talk about Sunday now. You're gonna be a little happier with this one. So, Sunday.
Well, let's just say FP1 came along. I think I was 2nd or 3rd. FP1 doesn't matter. Just spinning the wheels on the motorcycle. Just making sure you still remember how to ride from, the day prior. The race came along. I got a pretty decent start. I think I started in 10th and made my way up to 7th in the first corner, so it was all right. But I got a pretty sick wheelie off the start, and I kind of used my big body to just hang over the front end. So, people think you can't loop a Ninja 400, but it's possible. It's possible for sure.
Oh, I think you could loop a Ninja 400.
Easily. But I got a cool looking start. Let's say that. Kind of got the elbows out from there, and was 3rd into turn 5, and then from there I was just kind of battling for the lead during the race. Unfortunately, at the end I finished 2nd, which I was happy about. I kind of skipped ahead towards the end.
It was a great race.
It was a great race for sure, but there were mistakes made on the last couple of laps. Yeah.
So there was a 3-rider breakaway at the very end. It was Rossi Moore. Congratulations on your first win. Awesome. He's one hell of a rider too. There's no question.
Great rider.
Right. Like you got Rossi, who's a seasoned rider, and I think he's a champion over in Europe.
Yeah.
And then you got a helmet salesman who's ridden. How many times you ride this year?
I rode one time before.
You got a couple of track days and 3 races, and that's all that we've done, right?
3 track days.
And you're competing with this guy.
Not 3 track weekends, 3 days.
3 days.
And then a couple.
Yeah, and you're competing with this guy, and that's pretty cool, and it was great to see him do good. But you had yourself, we're watching on the monitors, Max, in that 3-rider breakaway, he had himself in 3rd, and he had himself in the best possible position. There was one point where you had a very easy pass on Avery, and we just watched you go.
Yeah. So what happened is
you held off. You didn't do it
at MotoAmerica, going into the chicane, and also going into turn 5. If you get sucked into the draft, you're gonna get pulled in, and I think that's what happened to Avery because he was in front of me. I was gonna plan to pass him on the back straightaway and then draft Rossi to the line was my plan, and I would have had a good enough gap to be able to get both done. He ran wide into. Or let's just say going into the chicane because he got pulled in, and that kind of caused Rossi to break away. Got into Avery's draft on the back straightaway. I could have easily passed him under the brakes, but I just,
He would have passed you right back.
He would have passed me right back to the line. I would have gotten 3rd, or, maybe even worse if something happened.
You were good for 3rd. 3rd was secure.
3rd was secure, 100%. But I decided to just kind of chill out and draft Avery to the line, and
well played, dude.
That's what I did. So secured 2nd place, and we're still 2nd in points, 26 behind Avery. unfortunately, but
He's riding great, dude.
for sure he's
Yeah,
riding amazing.
great.
We have
He's riding great. He's worked hard at it.
halfway through the season, and I think we're going to Brainerd, and I have good mojo at the track no matter what.
You ride really well at Brainerd. That track worked really well for you last year. You were pretty dominant there. You got a win and you got cleaned out. From a 100% secure P2, you got cleaned out. That's a pretty dominant weekend. We're heading back there. We've got good data from there. The bike's running good.
Yep.
We're ready.
We're good. We're 12 pounds down from MotoAmerica, so the boys know. I thought I was 155 pounds, and I realized when I got home that I was 161 and a half, and I was like, man, you got to drop some weight. So we are 11 and a half or 12 pounds down to 150, and I'm ready to, draft and pass at Brainerd International Raceway. So I'm excited. A month out. Can't wait. Thank you guys for watching.
And you'll probably notice this video looks a little different than the last one we did. Feel free to leave comments for our man Tom, the new video technician. Let him know how he did.